guys, welcome back to episode 13 of the Playmakers Podcast. I've lost count. I have 14 on for this week, but we kind of got sidetracked a little last week. Did we put out an episode last week, or was that just a short?
There was no official Playmakers Podcast episode, but we did do my MLS season preview videos were last week. The week before was also a weird abbreviated episode as well. So we've had a couple weeks since the regular old style Playmakers Podcast, but it's good to be back on the typical grind.
Yes, it is. Again, I am Neff. This is Topher. You guys already know that, by the way, but for any people coming in new, watching, that's our names. Today's going to be a kind of a special little episode because we're talking about some really interesting stuff. But first comes first. We should give a shout out to Mr. Alex Smith, former San Francisco 49ers quarterback, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback, and as you guys know, this past year's Washington football team's quarterback. 2021 or 2020 comeback player of the year. Dude is on a different level, but congrats to him for an amazing 16-year career. And thanks Alex Smith for giving us a great.
Yeah. I mean, I'll add on to that a little bit. Alex Smith, one of these, maybe not a defining face, but a solid starting NFL quarterback for you and I's pretty much entire lifetime. I mean, he's been a starter in the NFL since 2005. He has almost 200 career touchdown passes, 3 Pro Bowls, all with Kansas City, mind you, actually. He kind of paved the way for what we see now with the Pat Mahomes burgeoning dynasty, you know.
Pretty sure he trained Patrick Mahomes.
Basically, he was the mentor to Pat Mahomes, really, as an NFL quarterback. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is a unique, special athlete, but
mentor to Taylor Heineke. Let's go.
Yeah, but shout out Alex Smith, the first great Urban Meyer quarterback as well, back at Utah in the early 2000s.
We're going into NBA. Since we're nearing we're like 3/4 of the way done.
Something like that.
Because they only have 72 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure we're more than 3/4 of the way in. Anyway, we're nearing the end of the NBA regular season. I haven't read much on how the playoffs are going to look like. Is it just going to be like the normal playoffs, just 7 games each series?
To my knowledge,
is there any changes due to COVID?
As far as the 1 through 8 part of it, like that should be the same. But as we'll get to, there is a different element that has been changed.
Okay. We're going through let's see. Topher, who do you want to go all the way? Let's start with that.
All right, we can jump to that part.
Let's just start with the easy stuff and then move into the more complicated explanations and stuff like that. The lower teams,
Yeah.
Okay.
My question is: it who I want to see go through, or who I expect to go through?
Who do you expect, and who do you want to?
Okay. Well, who do I expect? I feel like it'll be really hard to stop the Nets in a 7-game series. I feel like just overwhelming talent differential will make up for any other issues. So,
haven't they been benching? Like, if they play Kyrie, they won't. If they play Kyrie and KD, they won't play James.
Look, there might be some issues like that, and that's going to come up. But at the end of the day, whatever struggles they have in a 7-game series, they have 3 of the 10 best players on the planet. And that's really all that matters. So until proven otherwise, I'm going to pick the Nets to win the championship. As far as who I want to win, that's different. Because I think this year we have a lot of teams, or at least 2 teams in my mind, who are veritable surprises and exciting, like young franchises, and that's Utah and Phoenix. And for my call, I personally prefer Phoenix of the two because they're even newer to the scene, because Utah's been a playoff team for a while. But Phoenix, they haven't been good since the Steve Nash Stoudemire era. And now all of a sudden they're the 2 seed in the West. And Devin Booker, he's been doing his thing for a while, but now he's like a consistent go-to number one guy, all-star on a playoff team now. And DeAndre Ayton, who hasn't become a superstar by any means, is still it has become a very consistent, solid 10 and 10 center. And then you have, of course, Chris Paul being one of the greatest point guards in history. I think Phoenix is fun. They're fresh, which is most important to me. They're not the same old players, not the same old team. So there's
I want to see Chris Paul make it to a championship.
Absolutely, sir. I mean, that guy deserves
Chris
it.
Paul definitely deserves. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he does, right?
I mean,
yeah. All right, go. Who do you expect and who do you want?
I think I'm gonna go with the same as you, the Nets. Obviously, they got Kyrie, James Harden, and KD. That's pretty hard to stop because they're, like you said, 3 of the best 10 players in the world. I don't know who they'll go up against in the West. It's kind of hard to tell right now because LeBron and AD aren't back, but also I won't count them out just because it's LeBron and AD and they're absolute madmen. But then you also see like the Nuggets out here. I don't think the Clippers will make the Eastern Conference Final. I just don't think they will. Which is kind of a bold claim now that they have Rajon Rondo at the 1 spot. But if anything, I'd see the Nuggets going to the finals with the Nets. Probably eventually losing. Who I want to see, I don't know if people will hate me for saying this, but I kind of want LeBron to go to another championship and win. Just because I'm not saying that everyone is counting him out as not the best player in the world, but he deserves like the rest, because you know how there are like a lot of people that say, wow, LeBron is the best player in the world, like in NBA history. And then other people are like, no, it's never going to be LeBron James. It's always going to be MJ, right? So if LeBron wins a 5th title and another Finals MVP, who would you say is better, MJ or LeBron? I know MJ won 6 rings, but like, come on.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a great storyline. I think if you look at LeBron's resume, if you just keep adding titles to it, it's pretty unstoppable.
Because I understand that a lot of people respect and they look up to LeBron, they idolize LeBron because LeBron is definitely first or second on players of all time, best players of all time. I mean, I feel like not everyone understands that LeBron deserves to be up there, like at least tied first with MJ, you know? Because if anything, they're tied for first. Like there's no definite, because they played in 2 completely different eras, 2 completely different types of play. Michael had to work on his 3-point shot. He was always just a slasher kind of player, you know, drive to the hoop, get points, easy points. LeBron can pretty much do it all, you know. So simple as that. He just deserves to. He deserves it.
I actually really like your take on the LeBron Michael dichotomy. I think I completely agree with that. Both how they're pretty much equal and how it's really hard to compare because they're very different, both in terms of era and what they do. But yeah, I don't really know if I can add to that.
I'm just saying, I don't think enough people respect what LeBron has done in his 17, 18 years of being in the NBA.
I mean, what we're witnessing, I think we take it for granted because this is one of the best you will ever see. You might ever see, literally ever, in this sport.
You may see some amazing players. You obviously have Luka Doncic, you have Stephen Curry, you have the Zion Williamson, you got Giannis, like the newcomers. But will any of them actually step up and be as great as LeBron James? We don't know. We don't. I've been on the earth for 18 years and that's all I've known. LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he was like drafted literally before I was born. All I know is that LeBron is the best basketball player alive. And he has been since the second I existed.
Yeah.
Oh man, where was this? Where did this conversation start?
Who we expect and who we want to see in the finals.
I like it. I honestly like your take. I feel like that's kind of a interesting perspective. Instead of going like with the underdog team or something, like you just want that LeBron love, and I totally get that, honestly.
I mean, because I'm not a bandwagon LeBron fan. I'm a freaking Magic fan. Like, coño, we lost to the damn Houston Rockets the other night. Like, come on. The Houston Rockets? Really? Really?
Oh, remember when they lost? Remember when they lost 20 in a row?
Yeah. Yes.
This is why we have you supporting the Warriors.
You done messed up, Magic. You done messed up.
Do you want to talk about this Playin Tournament?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I didn't actually know this existed until the other day when I saw it in the news. So I looked it up a little bit. It's actually kind of interesting. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pointless, but we'll get to that. So the 7 and 8 seeds in both conferences, they'll have a play-in tournament for them instead of just standings. So the 7 and 8 seed and the 9 and 10 seed will both play games in each conference. The winner of the 7-8 automatically gets the 7 seed. And the loser of that game plays the winner of the 9 versus 10 game. And the winner of that takes the 8 seed. Do we understand how this works?
So 7 and 8 verse off. Whoever wins is 7. Whoever wins between 9 and 10 and beats the loser of the 7-8 is the 8 seed.
Yeah, so the 7 and 8 winner takes it. 8 loser versus 9-10 winner. So I currently have written here the teams contending for that spot. And I think this brings up a pretty interesting point that I just said earlier.
You do the Eastern Conference. I'll do the Western Conference.
Yeah, okay. Let's look at the East then. So you got the Heat, the Hornets, the Pacers, and the Raptors would currently take those spots. The Bulls and the Wizards are right on the Raptors' heels. I know this. I think the Knicks and the Celtics are just above the Heat, so they could fall into this tournament as well if they start to slip in results. But I
don't think the Knicks will drop.
Honestly, don't either. They've won like 6 straight games. They're just
Julius Randle is absolutely clapping some cheeks, bro.
Shout out the Knicks. Just became a competent playoff team literally out of nowhere.
Let's go. Go Knicks.
Actually, I think that's funny because in one of our first ever episodes, I'm just going to get sidetracked here, but one of our first ever episodes, we talked about like surprise teams out of the first 2 weeks of the NBA. And we said like the Knicks and the Cavs because they were both surprising playoff teams at the time. Since then, the Cavs have become exactly what we expect and suck real bad. Like real bad. But the Knicks are just still consistently pretty damn good. It's so funny.
Isn't JaVale McGee now on the Nuggets?
Yes, he is.
That team has an insane depth.
Denver?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I get why you picked them to win the West. I think that's a valid pick. But regardless, back to the East play-in. I mean, I honestly don't think any of these teams are going to do anything.
I want the Bulls to get.
Yeah, it's because they're fun.
9 or 10.
Zach LaVine.
They're really fun.
Zach LaVine and Vooch.
Kobe White.
Vooch. Are you going to acknowledge the fact that Vucevic is on the Bulls?
I'll leave the call right now.
But no, they're a fun team. I feel like
I hate you.
oh man. I feel like though now, especially now that LaMelo is hurt in Charlotte for the rest of the year, they're probably the most fun team of that bit. If I want to pick a team that would actually win a playoff series, I'd probably pick either the Bulls or maybe the Heat, because they're really only in this spot because they started really cold. They're probably better than this spot indicates. Although they'll probably end up having to play the Nets in the first round, which
did you see the thing I sent you the other day about Trevor Ariza getting traded to the Heat?
F's in the chat for poor Trevor.
What? I actually thought he was a good player, though. That's the thing.
He has been. He's been a very solid player for most of his NBA career, and now that he's older, he's literally just trade bait.
Dude, it's like what? It's like Fitzpatrick. It's magic.
The funniest part about that video is that it's like a normal, slightly high number of trades and signings up until like last year, and from that point, he's been traded like 6 times.
He's been traded 6 times in the past 2 years, and now he's on the Heat.
Oh man. Yeah. All
right, what's that roster? What's that roster looking like right now? It's Goran.
Yeah, it's most of the same guys that made it to the finals last year.
And plus what? Avery Bradley and Trevor Ariza and this last one from the Pacers, who went to the Rockets. Oladipo.
Oh shoot! I completely forgot Oladipo went to the Heat. Completely spaced my mind. Yeah. All right, so they actually do have a pretty spicy roster. If they play anyone other than Brooklyn in the first round, man.
They took Olynyk and got rid of him because
Kelly
Olynyk was not great.
Yeah. All right. So I forgot about that. That actually makes me change my mind. So the Heat, if they play not the Nets in the first round, they have maybe a chance to win a playoff series. Yeah. All right. That's all I got to say about the East. You'd run through these couple teams in the West.
The teams in the West. Well, we got the Mavericks. These are current. We got the Mavericks at 7, Grizzlies at 8, Warriors at 9, and Spurs at 10. If we're gonna be honest, the Spurs are looking like a well-oiled machine, and the Warriors are very inconsistent. I don't know if you think that as well. Curry is obviously.
I would agree that the Warriors are pretty inconsistent. I don't know if the Spurs are nearly as well-oiled as they were a couple months ago.
I mean, but they're doing really well for the roster that they have.
Yeah, all things considered, they're performing well. That's one of the worst rosters in the NBA, just in a pure talent-wise. But their guys they're playing well. Shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're proving people like us wrong, which good for them. But will they stave off the Pelicans? I don't know.
I'm not sure. The Pelicans have turned on that little spark. They have a little spark right now. Zion's averaging 26 points.
Yeah, something like that. He's on an absolute tear now. Crazy streak for him.
Freak right now. Well, between the Warriors and the Spurs, I may end up giving it to the Spurs just because the Warriors are being kind of inconsistent. But then I remember that they have Steph Curry, who scores 30 points plus in every game.
I mean, on that note, Steph Curry is so good in a single game situation or a limited game situation. He could they could finish 9th or 10th. I could see them making the 8th seed in this playoff tournament.
Yeah. Especially now, because isn't Ja injured? Is he back?
He might be back, but I know the Grizzlies have had tons of injury problems this year.
Which sucks because they're a promising team.
Yeah, they are.
They're a really young roster, and I don't think they should add anything to that.
No, I like what they have.
I like Ja. I like Justice Winslow on the bench.
Jarrett Jackson.
Jackson. What's his name? Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
Dude, I like him. He's good.
He's a fun player.
And then Jonas Valanciunas at the 5. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they're a pretty fun team if they're healthy and in some rhythm.
And And then we got them up against the Mavs, who, for some reason this year, just absolutely shit the bed.
To their credit, they've started to come back a little bit.
They have, but they have the best. They have a top 10 player in the world.
They do.
And I'm not saying that Luka should be winning more than 30 games for them, but help a guy out, right? He's doing everything he can. You saw that shot at the end of the Dallas-Memphis game.
The
It was like
beater.
it was like a layup. It was like a 3-point layup. That's what they called it.
I mean, yeah, it's stupid. It's the best.
Like,
Luka's so wild.
Dude goes stupid. I'm dead ass. He is playing really great basketball. It astounds me sometimes how great Luka Doncic is. Sorry. This is not Luka appreciation time. Although we love Luka.
It's always Luka appreciation time.
So yeah, I mean, out of the 3 teams making the 7 and 8 spot, I'm pretty sure it's may most likely end up being the Mavs and the Warriors.
I agree with that.
Just because I don't want to say it's just because of Luka and Steph, but it's just because of Luka and Steph.
Yeah. I mean, when the rest of the rosters are similar in caliber, which I think is fair, it goes down to who are your best players. And Luka and Steph are better than anyone else.
Ja's still a little raw.
He's not at the level of Steph or Luka. He's very good, but he's not MVP good yet.
Yeah. He needs to play into that role though.
He will. He's like 22. He might be younger than that, actually. I just pulled a random number out of my head.
So, you want to talk about the higher seeds?
In the playoffs right now?
Yeah, right now we have the Jazz at first in the West. Something we didn't mention. How long do you think Donovan Mitchell's going to be out with that injury?
I mean, that's the $1 million question for Utah, isn't it? Because if they don't have him, they're not a contender at all. Even with him, they're kind of a fringe contender. But if Donovan Mitchell misses significant time, they're not going to win. They might win one playoff series, but they're not making the conference finals. They're not making a title chase.
Dude, their passing on the court is, they share the rock like it's nothing.
They do. It's very pretty to watch. I mean, some of their sequences that you see on highlight tapes is like, that's to paraphrase a soccer colloquialism, that is champagne basketball. It's very nice. But in the playoffs, you need that money, man. You need your big game closer. You need your Jordan. You need your Kobe. And Donovan Mitchell has proven to be that level of guy in the playoffs completely. Obviously, hold on. He's not Michael. He's not Kobe. Nobody are those two. But what I am saying is he can do that similar function. Right? He's a guy who can just, the game's on the line, hand him the rock, let him make a play. He's that dude. Without him, they don't really have that dude, at least not to this caliber. They have plenty of other guys, but no one to his caliber. So they need him back.
Yeah. And sticking in the Western Conference, we already talked about the Suns. Really fun team. Young talent with Chris Paul as the leader. I think everyone's saying that Devin Booker is the leader on that team, but it's Chris Paul. Like, without Chris Paul, I feel like that team dynamic would be not the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, going down the list, we have the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Trailblazers.
I can say of that collective, both LA teams, if the Lakers get healthy, of course, that's the important caveat, are probably like the sleeping giants of sorts. The Clippers, obviously, they have to prove it in the playoffs. Haven't yet. But the Lakers, they're the reigning champions for a reason. And then also, George, you've talked a lot about Denver too.
I just think Paul George is not good. like he's a great player. He's just not good enough. He just. If we're being honest, I think Paul George sucks
in the playoffs. In the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
And I think that's especially post Indiana, especially like his time with
OKC,
Oklahoma City, and now with LA. He just hasn't done it in the playoffs yet, and he needs to prove it when it matters most, or else he's always going to have this stain on his legacy.
Yeah. I bullied Paul George in 2K. Anyway, what about your Trailblazers, Topher? You think CJ McCollum and Dame can do it?
I mean, because Damian Lillard is the type of player who can single-handedly take over a series, because they're getting healthier. They could maybe win a playoff series. Like, bro, right now they're the 6th seed, right?
Yusuf freaking Nurkic,
dude. I love Big Nurk. If he can stay healthy for a playoff series, my lord. I could see them upsetting a team or two in the playoffs. I don't think I expect it for what it's worth, but I'm saying it could happen.
You think they'll make the finals anytime soon in years to come?
No, I think this Damian Lillard era will come and go, and it'll be marked with being consistently good without ever being elite. And to be honest with you, that's fine. The reality is not every team can be a championship team, but as long as you're competitive and you play exciting games and you're have memorable moments, and you can win some playoff series, that's plenty of success in professional sports.
Dude, that's my life story, bro, as a Colts fan.
But you can't
one chance.
But for what it's worth, you can't say it's been bad. Outside of
what?
You can't say being a Colts fan's been bad for that reason, though. Outside of a couple bad seasons when the quarterback got hurt.
I just hate Jim Irsay.
Bro, same.
Jim Irsay, if you heard that, I'm kidding. I doubt it. Anyway, let's move to the Eastern Conference. Topher?
All right. Well, I think it all starts up top. Well, it really starts with the Nets, but we already talked about them. So it really starts with Philly here, number 1 seed for pretty much wire to wire now. Let me ask you, are they a real contender?
The Sixers?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're a good team. They really choked bad last year. Like, they choked hard. Like, it's like someone took a lamp and just beat them over the head with it, you know? And I know they didn't have Ben Simmons, but they're starting Danny Green. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Danny Green is not the same Danny Green that we saw winning the championship with the Raptors. Or no. Not the Raptors. With the Raptors. Yes, the Raptors. Actually.
He's actually won titles
and the Spurs.
With the Spurs, the Raptors, and the Lakers.
Dude, that's whack.
A little bit, honestly. Yeah.
That's right place, right time.
So Sixers, I mean, Joel Embiid, if he's healthy, he's a top 5 player in the league this season, right?
He's third on the MVP race, right? It's Jokic, Luka, Embiid.
Shout out to the NBA for getting so very international so quick. You know what I'm saying? Serbian, Slovenian, and Senegalese. I don't remember where Embiid's from, but it's.
And then they got Giannis at 4.
Yeah, and then Giannis, Greek. Shout out NBA. But honestly, you could make a case Embiid should be higher than that, though. You know, he's a 30 points per game scorer.
Luka is keeping the Mavs at 7th seed, like single-handedly.
I guess, but the 7th seed's not that impressive compared to the 1 seed in the East.
Okay, but he has Ben Simmons.
I guess, but this has also been kind of a down year for Ben Simmons, right? I mean, just
all I'm saying is that he also has Dwight Howard on the bench. who
yes,
is
I will
for
respect.
some reason is a great bench player. I don't understand how he's such a great bench player.
I will accept the fact that Philly is undeniably better than Dallas as a roster build and just an overall team situation.
Dude, Luka is single-handedly keeping them in the playoff race.
Fair enough. All right.
They are going to get blown out in the first series.
All right, let's keep moving through these. So the Sixers, we talked about the Nets. Next two, we got the Bucks, 3 seed.
Giannis!
And the Hawks at the 4 seed. Hawks started off really slow this season.
Let's go, Trae Young, baby.
Yeah, Trae Young and the Hawks, they're on a tear. I don't know. I don't think, again, I think they're in the same tier as
the Jazz.
No, I feel like they're lower than that. But I don't think they're going to make any noise in the playoffs, like real noise. They might beat the Celtics in the first round, but they're not doing much more than that. The Celtics are also on a tear, though. They've both won 8 of their last 10 games.
I have the standings in front of me, and looking at the Magic, they're 18-39.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, God, that's so bad. They're on a losing streak, I think.
Hey, for what it's worth, they're not the worst team in the league. They're not even the 3rd worst team in the league. They are the 4th worst team in the league, but it's fine.
Shut up, Topher. I mean, oh wait, the Hornets are actually 8th in the East.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that?
No, you have them. You don't have them on there, I don't think. Hold on. Do you? Oh, you do. Never mind. Funny joke.
I'm thinking I might leave that in just because I think it's a good goof.
Funny joke.
All right. Anything else you have to say about the NBA, be it the play-in tournament, potential contenders, MVP ladder, anything else you got to say for this episode?
6th man of the year. Who should it go to?
I like the call of Jordan Clarkson. You know, he's been like a near 20-point per game scorer on the number 1 team in the league, statistics wise. So I think that's a fair shout. Would you go another way?
I don't know any 6th men. I haven't paid attention to like the 6th men in the league. Like I don't think anyone does.
It's like the undervalued hero award. Is it time for
is it time for Playmakers?
I believe so. I got 2. How many do you have?
I only have 1.
All right.
Because we missed.
I'll let you get out.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry for missing last week. I wasn't feeling too great. We just decided to hold off and just move it to the next week. I'm just going to say what I had last week, if that's okay with you, Topher. I had Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. He is really fun to watch. He is a great player. I don't know where this came from. He started what team he started on? He started on the Timberwolves. Made his way to the Bulls, right? He went to the Bulls, right?
I think he was the big asset in the Jimmy Butler trade.
Anyways, Zach LaVine is playing great basketball. I wanted to give it to him just because he's been averaging 30
something like that.
I really should have.
What he definitely is has been a high level volume scorer.
He's got points per game, 27 points per game, 0.8 steals, 0.5. He's really just there. He's really just a consistent player for them. I would say he belongs in the top 10, but there are way too many great players to not put in the top 10 before him. So, all right.
So that's yours.
That took way too long.
No worries. That's a fair shout. I mean, he's been a fun star more in the shadows of the NBA season, but he's coming into his own as a leading man. I've got 2. I'll start with maybe the lower profile, more unknown name to people outside the know, but someone who absolutely deserves love. And honestly, she's not even really getting it, at least in my opinion, as much as she deserves within like the lacrosse world. And that's Izzy Skane, the Skane train of Northwestern women's lax. Her last 2 games, 14 goals and 4 assists in 2 games. she's quietly been the most dominant scorer in college lacrosse. And yeah, I know Charlotte North at Boston College, whatever. I don't care. Izzy Skane doing great things for Northwestern, the star of that team. Shout out to her. And then I have one more. If you watch MLS, this is a must pick. The guy who's been through so much crap the last year and a half. He's talked a lot about the struggles with mental health, all that kind of stuff. He had a terrible year last year, only 2 goals in his MLS debut season. Javier Chicharito Hernandez, the leading scorer in the history of the Mexican national team. He had 2 goals on Sunday for the LA Galaxy against Inter Miami. They were both very Chicharito goals, quick movement, poacher finish. He's back to what he's best at, scoring little goals like that. So much. It's great seeing a talented, legendary player actually get his career back on track. So I have Javier Chicharito Hernandez as my other playmaker of the week.
Should we pick any baseball players of the week?
Unless they really catch your eye, hell
no. Hey, baseball fans, this is not your podcast. Get out of here.
No, it's not. There are plenty of good baseball podcasts, probably. I don't know. Never heard of them.
Do we have any hockey for Najee? We got you, Najee. Next week.
I don't know much about hockey this season other than the Canucks are going through hell in terms of COVID. Real bad COVID breakout for the poor Canucks. So hoping those guys are feeling better.
All right. I know this was probably not as a banger as we wanted to, but it was still a great episode.
I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
So obviously we're coming off like 2 weeks of not recording an actual.
It's all right. Oh,
but it's all good.
I don't want to I want to say this before we get out of here. Next week, we'll have a very special episode. We'll be doing a full first round NFL mock draft in preparation of the upcoming NFL draft. So we are very much looking forward to that.
It may star my dad.
Ooh.
My dad will be here until next Tuesday. So
very interesting stuff. So
maybe we'll have my dad on the podcast.
Be on the lookout for that. I know we don't post too much. We're not the most consistent, avid people. Obviously, we got busy crap to do. We are both college children. We got a whole bunch of tests and junk we got to deal with. So we appreciate your support as much as you can give. Give us a like, give us a follow. Please subscribe here on YouTube.
Just a look ahead in a few weeks. Next week, obviously, we have the mock draft. Past that week, we may need to take like 1 or 2 weeks off. Obviously, we're nearing the end of a semester for school. And this is obviously not where I'm from. I have to drive back down to Florida. So if you guys want Topher to be solo for the next 2 podcasts, or if you want to wait until we're both back, let us know. I'm just letting you guys know because it's going to get hectic soon. So, and then if you decide to wait, just look forward to having both me and Topher in the same room instead of these boxes.
Yeah. Exciting, if busy and hectic stuff forward. We are all for transparency here at the Playmakers Podcast. I think that's all we have to say. Thank you all for listening. Again, please thumbs up, follow, whatever you got to do.
Smash that like button. No, I'm kidding. I'm not a streamer, I swear.
We appreciate all your support. Thank you all for listening.